guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
And a happy Reckless Speculation Thursday.
Reckless Speculation.
To you
Absolutely.
and yours.
Yes.
All who celebrate. Yes. Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department.
Representing one of my cities.
Yeah. One of your many cities. So we got, okay, there is a thought that continues to prevail among the national NFL media regarding the Vikings that we can get to here. I know, Doogie, we're a week away from the NBA trade deadline. Wolves played an awesome game shorthanded last night in Phoenix and ran away with that thing. So a lot to get to. I'm going to put Declan on the spot here because I didn't tell you this before the show, but Underdog is here for there's a big game coming up in like a week and a half. I'm not sure if you know that.
Oh, there's a big game. There's a big game. You can get in on the action on the big game at Underdog. There's plenty of things to bet higher or lower on the big game that's coming up in about 10 days. I don't know if the big game that I'm referencing, I think you can figure out what it is, but it is quite a big game. Higher or lower on plenty of different options in that big game. New users, promo code SCORE for a 50% deposit match. And current users also get in the action on the big game at Underdog.
That's right. The big game.
The big game.
Wolves and Wizards this weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
yeah,
that's the big game.
Very
Yeah,
big game.
Massive, dude. So, okay, this is Reckless Speculation season, and our old longtime friend, Tom Pelissero.
Speculation.
Now, he doesn't speculate so much as report information and nuggets that he's being told. Like, there's a certain group of NFL insiders that, like, it's very rare that they're just speculating on something that's usually coming from a place. So, speaking exclusively to Sportskeeda, sportskeeda.com, NFL insider Tom Pelissero believes Sam Darnold will... I'm trying to figure out in what context was Pelissero speaking exclusively to Sportskeeda.com.
Is that an aggregating site? I don't
think they have like a podcast or something.
I think they just aggregate a bunch of stuff. It doesn't say though.
But no, but he's speaking exclusively to Sportskeeda.
Oh, weird.
He's not going to call an aggregating site.
Yeah, I'm reading this.
Hey, Sportskeeda.
I'm not ad-libbing this. This is speaking exclusively to Sportskeeda. NFL insider Tom Pelissero believes Sam Darnold will ultimately stay put, suggesting that the Vikings might even employ a method of last resort to make it happen. So here's what he said. I would say on paper, the most logical outcome of this is Sam Darnold stays in Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy missed his entire rookie season coming off knee surgery. The Vikings believe in him. They're not trading J.J. McCarthy, but there's no precedent for a guy missing an entire year of reps as a rookie and then coming back and playing again like it hasn't happened before. All I know is Sam Darnold played the best football of his career under Kevin O'Connell. The last 2 games notwithstanding, it makes sense for Sam Darnold. All things equal to come back, it makes sense for the Vikings to bring him back. They won 14 games with him. They also have the franchise tag at their disposal if they choose to use it. And Pelissero's not the only national plugged-in NFL guy saying, yeah, my gut says he goes back, Sam Darnold, to the Vikings. So, Doogie, what do you make of this?
All right, well, it does make sense if you are Sam Darnold to return to the Vikings. I still need some help on how it makes sense if you are the Vikings. Now, if Sam wants to come back on the same exact contract, okay, let's have a discussion. That just doesn't seem logical. Now, clearly, Tom has relationships with many people at Creative Arts Agency, many people in the Vikings organization. This isn't random, right? Tom has reason to believe what he said. I'm telling you, though, Judd, like the Vikings need 2 guards, all sorts of uncertainty in the defensive backfield. They can still use another defensive tackle. We can make a case at some other positions as well. This was always the plan. Quarterback on a rookie deal, whether it's Daniel Jones or perhaps somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo, you have a good backup. Maybe even that backup needs to play in September. Like, we don't know for sure. Like, all signs point to J.J. McCarthy being okay. Those close to J.J. McCarthy will tell you, yes, like every reason to believe he will be good to go come September. But maybe he won't be ready. We get it. Like, he needs to add some weight, right? He looks skinny the last time we saw him. I guess that TV shot on the sidelines, week 18 at Ford Field, we were like, ooh, like he looks almost too skinny. Okay, so
it won't
there's some
take
work
him
to be
6
done.
months to put that weight.
He's
Correct.
put some weight back
There's
on.
work to be
Yeah,
done in the weight room, even since then. Absolutely. Like in the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, those close to JJ are 100% convinced he will be fine. He will be good to go come September. I just need help. The Vikings have all sorts of flexibility come a few weeks from now. Why would you sacrifice that flexibility to bring back Sam Darnold? But if you're Sam, sure. Like if Sam ends up with the Steelers or the Raiders or the Giants or elsewhere, for him to repeat what he did in 2024, that to me seems very unlikely.
All right, let's explore the time that we are in now, because I think that's the most important thing, right? We are very much entering, if not in, the silly season, which is the most fun of the National Football League. It behooves the Vikings to make it very clear that they want Sam back. Because if they want Sam back and a team says, well, we really want Sam, you now have the franchise tag and trade possibility.
You create a market.
If you say, if Tom talks to you, and look, this is not, Tom's reporting is impeccable here, but this is the time of year where, as I can tell you from my experience, where you're going to be used. And you can't really tell the executive, screw you, you're lying. You take the information and Doogs, as you know, you disseminate it. So the reality is, I think that this is a very important time. I don't think that there is any incentive for CAA, who obviously represents Darnold, or the Vikings to say, he's not coming back there. There is no way. Because remember, if Darnold is tagged and traded, which is, if you're the Vikings, awesome, that's a $40 million starting point. If Darnold is just kicked to the curb, that is now a starting point probably in the 30s. So what I see here, I smell a rat. And it's a rat of, this is the time of year where insiders are going to report what they're told. So they are not making this up. But their reality is they're going to allow you to say, this is the information I have. It's up to us to use our brains and say, oh yeah, you know what? Been here before, done this before. I think this is a very smart bunch of nothing. If you're a Vikings fan, though, you want the tag and trade, so play along.
Was that Jaden McDaniels with the finger to your brain?
Yeah. It was the finger to someone else's brain, is what it was.
Yeah. No, that was like an ear.
Booker.
That was like an ear poke with Booker.
Did he give him a wet willy? Did he lick his finger beforehand?
And he did it with a
great.
totally emotionless face. It was sort of scary.
The Timberwolves' little brothering Devin Booker for 6 consecutive games is
pretty good.
Food I need to keep
Pretty
my
good.
Oh,
body
it is
alive.
fantastic.
Like,
The weird part of it was that, like, a possession or two before, Booker makes a nice pass. It's a three-pointer made. The deficit goes from 117 to 103 to 117 to 106, and Booker did that. He, pointed at Jaden. It's like, Devin, what the heck are you doing? Yeah. You're losing. There's 90 seconds left. Okay, nice pass. You're now down still double digits. It was very awkward, so I understood why Jaden did what he did. All right, let me offer some blowback. Tom is pretty damn smart. That's a man we've known for decades.
Agreed.
So he's able to read between the lines, but he continues to put that out. Mm-hmm. Why? There's also the possibility, as Joel Corey of CBS Sports laid out to me a couple weeks ago, shameless plug, that conversation available on the KSTP Sports website. We did a deep dive on all sorts of Vikings talking points heading into the offseason. Caponomics, he's a cap expert, former agent for John Randall, Ed McDaniel, among others, that there is a way to structure a contract for Sam where the 2025 number is relatively low. Still, all that being said, I just, for the life of me, can't wrap my arms around that idea. I just can't. They still need so much help.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I really don't.
Tom is very, very smart.
This is KOC's guy, J.J. McCarthy.
Schefter is very smart. These guys are all smart. But, Dukes, if you're told something, if you're told by CAA and the Vikings, there's a good chance he is back, it does not behoove the insider to go on his shows and blow back on what you're told.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Because you deal in that. That's your currency.
You deal in what people are telling you. And no,
right.
There does have to be some filtering of, to Doogie's point, journalism 101. Why is this person lying to me?
Well, there's that. Plus, like, I was given something the other day, right? And this individual wanted me to run with it. I paused. Mm-hmm. I did some digging. Didn't really get anywhere. Guess what? I'm not saying that information. I'm just not. That's just my own personal.
And it's hurting the show for it.
Deciphering.
What if
trying to figure out
like right
legit,
now,
not legit?
Why are we doing the scoops? This is Reckless Speculation
What if
Thursday.
you just whispered it?
I know, this is weird. Reckless Speculation Thursday. We're having this conversation.
I'm done with the show. See you guys.
Why are you filtering yourself? Okay,
Fantastic.
let me add a little.
I get it though. If you're Tom, you're being told this. Why wouldn't you go with it? I get it.
But I'll add another layer of I guess intrigue to this. I have heard some steam that in the postseason discussions between Kwesi, maybe Kevin O'Connell, and some of the players, like, hey, the exit interviews, that Kwesi and company are highlighting, hey, as we look forward, this is we're building something great here. As we look forward, we have a lot of resources to go help build up the trenches, which everybody on the team and everybody who watches the team knows, especially when you're comparing to Philadelphia and Kansas City and Baltimore and these other teams that went further. The Vikings have room to get better if they want to be on that level. That is a selling point internally among the team and the players that are under contract and players that might be looking to, like, hit free agency or decide if they're still going to play in 2025. So I'm just telling you, I've heard steam that the Vikings are telling players we have cap space to play with, and that it's not we're going to use it to bring Sam Darnold back. We're going to use it to help build the roster and build this team up into a monster. So now, could that change in the next few weeks? I guess I don't see a world where you fix your trenches with free agency money and Sam Darnold is back on a franchise tag that's a 1-year, $40 million contract or a multi-year contract. I don't think you can have, you either bring back Sam Darnold and live with your flaws, or you say goodbye to Sam Darnold and you fix your flaws and you move forward with J.J. McCarthy and somebody else as the backup.
Absolutely. Now, yes, what you just laid out, Phil, exit interviews, dialogue with current players, players under contract, players entering free agency, just those exit interviews, yes, I think you're absolutely onto something with that. I can't for the life of me see him back on the franchise tag at $41 million. I suppose if he's back, it's a multi-year deal, low number, 2025. But I just can't see it. I just can't. I'm sorry. Like, maybe for like a little bit of time, I was open-minded, late November into December, but more so, okay, use the franchise tag. There's absolutely a trade to be worked out. I get it. We pause after the Lions performance, after the Rams performance, but he is still the clear cut. I don't think it's that close. Clear cut, unless you love Russell Wilson. I don't think it's that close, though, that he is the clear cut best option. There are at least 7 teams who need a starting quarterback. Does it even grow? Like, what's the future for Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, well, that's
Are we sure that Anthony Richardson is the guy in Indianapolis?
Well, Stafford's back now. The question is he has to bring his cap hit down, which I think that they'll get done.
Well, I mean, is there a trade to be worked out potentially? Like, are the Rams married to Matthew Stafford in 2025? Maybe they are. But there's a question there. I'm just saying, minimum 7 teams, right? Tennessee, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Vegas, the 2 New Yorks.
Yeah.
Did I say New Orleans? Like, there's a bunch of teams that need to figure out who their starting quarterback is.
On the offensive line, too, I think, like, if there was anything good that came from the debacle of those last 2 games, I think it was the fact that if he hadn't already, and there's a case to be made he had. I think Kevin O'Connell saw the light. Like he wanted a tougher team. And at the end of the day, interior line, he didn't get it. And so when Mark Craig asked that question, I think it was in Arizona after the Rams game, and KO, who ordinarily, he gives a lot of words, but he rarely says something direct. He directly said, we got to improve this. I think if there's anything positive from those 8 quarters, it's the fact that it crystallized in his mind. We have to be, 1, able to score on the ground in the red zone, and 2, we're still not tough enough. So, like, if you're like, well, but he really likes Sam, and then he would like McCarthy and blah, blah, blah. Okay, he does love his quarterbacks, but that, to me, was the final nail in the coffin of we're going to try to get by here, which is why I'd be shocked if they didn't spend a lot for at least a guard.
Agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's specifically Trey Smith.
Sure.
But yes, like at least one guard. I think it may be 2 guards. Now, maybe you solve one of those in the draft. I think Garrett Bradbury at this point is probably back.
Yeah.
I think he can be better
I agree with that.
if he's got some help to his immediate left, to his immediate right. And yes, I mean, I remember back in training camp, there was an emphasis on being more physical, being tougher. We saw remnants of that during the regular season, but then it fell apart late in the season. And yes, Mr. Word Salad, Kevin O'Connell, right? That was pretty darn direct at the podium post-game after the Rams loss. So yes, they absolutely are on the lookout. I guess the only comeback is, can you sign a premier guard, find another guard, and also bring back Sam with a low 2025 cap
But your
hit?
defense needs help too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and okay, Byron Murphy, you literally have no starting cornerbacks under contract. So that money, every year we do like 5 different off-season blueprint episodes where we go through the whole thing in an hour of cuts, restructures, internal, external free agents. And man, like the Vikings have the 5th or 6th most cap space, but that money goes quickly when you talk about, okay, well, Byron Murphy Jr. is going to be $15 to $17 million as a high-end cornerback. If you want to bring back Cam Bynum, is Harrison Smith retiring? I mean, that's a whole discussion. And then you're going to you want to get Trey Smith would be great. Well, that's $20 million a year right there. And it's you got to be a little careful trying to fix everything in free agency. This is why the draft is so important. But the minute you plop Sam Darnold in any scenario, even if he wants to take like a highly discounted $25 or $30 million deal, which I doubt, by the way, this is his one chance to make crazy generational Darnold money.
I doubt too.
It just doesn't.
Plus those high, powerful agents. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That creative arts agency. I just don't see a scenario where
they're
they
not
are
gonna be
willing
like, "Hey,
to
Sammy,
play along with that.
Take a 1-year $10 million again. You love it there.
Yeah. No,
No
it's
way.
it's
I
a
mean, just not
life-changing
realistic.
No, it's not.
I'm just throwing it out there, right, in this reckless speculation Thursday.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Right, just attached to what Tom, and it's not like Tom's on an island. There are other national reporters who believe this. So I guess I'm just playing the other side. I'm telling you deep down, I just don't see the scenario where he's actually back.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Okay, let's switch to Wolves here. Huge win last night. A reminder for the audience that in a few weeks, February 21st through February 23rd, the 2025 North American Banking Company Minnesota Golf Show is coming to town at the Convention Center. So tickets are available now over at mngolfshow.com. Compliments of TwinCitiesGolf.com. Each ticket purchased includes 10 free greens fee passes if you purchase online. That's a value of $350 in free greens fees. And you can get those tickets at mngolfshow.com. Test out the latest drivers, irons, and putters. Get great deals on apparel and equipment. There's free lessons from PGA professionals. mngolfshow.com. We're even going to be doing at least one podcast of some kind, either Purple Daily or Mackey and Judd. So we'll update you more on that in the coming weeks here. But let's continue here with Reckless Speculation Thursday.
Reckless
Doogie,
speculation.
that is one of the 3 most impressive wins of the year for the Timberwolves. And Chris, it's funny listening to some of the comments from the players after the game. Finch has been fed up with like that win against the Hawks. He was pissed about the effort. apparently yesterday morning in Phoenix, they did a film breakdown and he just eviscerated players in the hotel conference room or whatever. And 2 or 3 of the players said, yeah, he woke up choosing violence and he'd never been ejected before. But apparently he called the officials bozos, according to someone who was courtside.
Great
he
word.
gets tossed. But last night, so they're obviously without Dante DiVincenzo. Last night, Naz Reid was out. And so Luka Garza comes in for 5 minutes and bangs a 3. Jalen Clark essentially made his non-garbage time NBA debut and clamped for 10 minutes on defense. He was a +9 in 10 minutes, a bunch of energy. Dillingham got 15 minutes. Nikhil had one of his best games. So, hey, you can play more than just 8 guys, and that was on display last night. But they are now a season high 5 games over 500 with a huge win last night. Trade deadline looming in a week, though. So this is a fascinating week for the Timberwolves, Dukes.
It is. 4 consecutive wins. Should be 5 tonight. Utah playing for Cooper Flag. Utah has very little interest in winning tonight. I get it back to back, but should win tonight. The Wizards have, a 15-game losing streak? So thinking about that game on Saturday. So heading into that home game on Monday against Sacramento, you should have a 6-game winning streak. You should be a season high 7 games over 500. Daily, we look at the standings right now, 7th, a game from 5th. But sure, you lose a couple. You look at that mid-February schedule, it gets really difficult. You lose a few. Next thing you know, you might be 8th, 9th, 10th. Heck, the Warriors, correct me if I'm wrong, they won last night. I dozed off, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went off. But the Warriors found a way to beat a really good OKC team. So maybe Golden State, once again, has a sliver of life. But yeah, like Jalen Clark at UCLA was as good a defensive player as there was in the country. The late, great Flip Saunders always told me, when a guy enters the NBA, he better have one instant skill set that translates. One NBA skill the second he enters the league. Jalen Clark had that, still has it to this day, even through a serious injury, the Achilles, still has it. He is an all-world defender. He is an elite defender. I'd be fine if Jalen Clark played some minutes moving forward. It's unfortunate that Terrence Shannon Jr. is hurt. I really believe Terrence Shannon Jr. would be playing right now if he was okay. The ankle is close. He's not far away from returning, but not quite there. But yes, especially in the middle of the regular season, the grind, you can play 10 guys or even 11 guys. Okay, so the NBA trade deadline, Phil, 1 week from today. Had a high-ranking Eastern Conference official tell me the Wolves have shown some interest, not only with him, but with other teams, in taking on guys that could be salary dumps. So you look at the bottom of the standings. Who are some teams that might be looking to dump a guy or two? Perhaps to get under the luxury tax. Or just a team that has a high payroll that probably isn't going anywhere.
Expirings
yeah,
we're talking about?
I would say, yeah. I mean, like, look at some of the guys that signed veteran minimum contracts. Fine, put this under the reckless speculation umbrella, but this is a guy this front office has had some interest in the past. So I'm just throwing this out there. Philadelphia has Eric Gordon. Where is Philadelphia going? Could you do something like Joe Ingles plus a future second-round pick for Eric Gordon? Would Philadelphia do that? Or do you need to move Leonard Miller? I guess grab the Spotrac trade machine. That's better than the ESPN trade machine. See if that works. I get it. Second apron, lots of limitations. But you have some trade exceptions to play with. Now, I need to look this up. I guess I should blow up Bobby Marks' phone. Can you trade a trade exception for a guy on a minimum contract? There are so many rules.
Dex knows the second apron.
Yeah,
well,
I don't know
Or perhaps
if you can or not. But you have Joe Ingles. You have some second-round picks you could add. Not many, but you have a second-round pick you could add as a sweetener. Because clearly, whether it's Eric Gordon or somebody else on a minimum deal, if the Suns decide they're not going anywhere, and you try to bring in Tyus Jones on a 1-year vet minimum contract, like, you have to add a sweetener, right? Like nobody's doing Joe Ingles for, a Tyus Jones or an Eric Gordon.
And I don't
but I'm
know
just
that
saying,
you can...
they are making calls. They are. This front office likes to have their finger on the pulse of what's going on around the league. That's why you've heard them maybe being a third team in some sort of Jimmy Butler trade. I was told, there's many teams that have reached out to the Sacramento Kings about De'Aaron Fox. I don't see a scenario where De'Aaron Fox is ending up here, but I'm led to believe the Wolves have at least inquired. Again, this front office likes to know what the heck is going on. And so I still think it's more logical that they add somebody on a minimum type contract, an Eric Gordon type, an Andre Drummond type, somebody like that, versus something big where Julius Randle ends up elsewhere or somebody else ends up elsewhere. I know Bobby Marks on his ESPN Insider trade preview series has Torrey Craig of Chicago landing here for Leonard Miller. Like something like that makes a lot more sense than something big.
By the way, I do have bad news here. This is how hard it is to trade when you're in the second apron. You can't do a Joe Ingles for Eric Gordon trade, even though they're both on minimums. Eric Gordon's minimum is $3.3 million. Joe Ingles is $2.1, and you can't take on more. So you would have to kick in another player that makes about $1.5 million ish dollars. So but then you can't aggregate. So you couldn't do. You couldn't do Joe Ingles plus Leonard Miller.
And if he's not 6'5", you can't make that trade because it has to be guys over 6'5".
Right, that's part of the second apron.
So,
Thank you for checking the specific numbers. I know both are on minimum type deals, but there's different levels of
based on
the
your
vet
senior,
minimum. So thank you in the moment for looking that up. Yes, it shows and tells you how limited they are, but they have shown at least enough interest in taking on, even though they're already way deep into the luxury tax, taking on perhaps a contract that a team is looking to dump. Like even the Clippers are looking to dip under. Like would Bones Highland help out at all? Or is he too close to Rob Dillingham? He may be, but
you're a big.
I'm just saying.
Guy.
Well, Tim Connolly's a Bones Highland guy. It's his guy.
Well, I mean, Bones' best year was his rookie year when he was with Tim.
Yeah, in Denver.
In Denver, he's gone downhill since then, but some of that is just he hasn't earned minutes. The Clippers are pretty darn deep. When he's been given a chance, he has shown some capability at times. Point is, the Wolves are making enough inquiries 1 week out. I don't know how in this moment I would handicap, yes, a deal is going to happen. No, you go back 2 years, that was the Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker trade. Last year they made a deal for Monte Morris, right? So 2 consecutive years, Tim Connolly has done something, but it is tougher, right? You are handcuffed in so many ways being second apron. Now, do you have that thing up, Phil? Does it work with the trade exceptions? So the Wolves have a trade exception from the Cat trade. They have a trade exception from the Kyle Anderson trade with the Warriors. The Wolves have 3 or 4 trade exceptions.
Try and trade Ty Corbin, Tony Campbell, and Pooh.
Yeah.
See if you
Anthony
can
Peeler.
ship 3 retired guys.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the second apron.
If I can do, I'm trying to see if I can add. I'm on the Spotrac machine here.
Is it Spotrac? Is that the pronunciation? Not Spotrac?
That's
Spotrac.
how I do it.
I will tell you, that is by far good for them. That is the one fans want to use. Do not use the ESPN trade machine.
ESPN just gave up. They're like, this is too confusing for us.
Their guy's gone.
Well, yeah, Gupta left.
He's with us. Yeah. That's right.
No, he's in Chelsea.
He's in London.
He's in London.
Gupta
That's
left
right.
us, too.
That's right. He did leave us. Forgot about that.
Doing soccer now.
Dukes, give us a minute of rapid fire scoops, whatever else you have left in your scoop bag here.
I will start with the Lynx. They made an offer to Maisha Hines-Allen, but she is going to go elsewhere. It was too low. So whether it's Los Angeles, Phoenix, or Dallas, the Lynx acquired her middle of the season. She helped enough. Like I would have loved to have seen her back. Pretty good rebounder, but it is not going to happen. Maisha Hines-Allen is going to leave the Lynx. Did you see courtside last night in Phoenix?
Yeah,
A-Rod right next to Matt Ishbia.
How about that? Yeah. The Ishbias are doing their homework on Minnesota. They're doing their homework on Minnesota.
I will reiterate,
obviously
yes.
they own the Suns, but yeah.
Correct. I will reiterate, there is 0 sense that A-Rod, Mark Lowry have interest in purchasing the Twins. But I will also tell you, since we are now, it's no longer months or weeks, like it's days. It could be any day that the binding arbitration decision is rendered. Okay, if Mark and Alex win, I've said for a long time, they've always had a compelling case. If Mark and Alex win, the next step is getting 23 of 29 votes from the Board of Governors. Well, guess what? Matt is the Board of Governor representative for the Phoenix Suns. So, hey, A-Rod working that. Good for him. I would think he's got Matt's vote, put it that way. Mark and Alex win arbitration. I think for sure he's got that vote from the Phoenix Suns owner.
Yeah.
I'd like to throw out something quickly, very, very reckless. Like this is off the grid. I probably shouldn't, but what the heck, I will. Is there any chance? So the Wolves are going to need a building. Like there's no question about it. That's not a debate. The Wild is looking for massive improvements, some very significant improvements in and around the X. Is there any chance that those two sides come together to leverage? Because I just don't know that you're going to get a new basketball building with any public assistance potentially, and you're going to get massive improvements with public assistance to your hockey rink. There any chance those sides, Leopold, A-Rod, Laurie, potentially come together for a one building solution?
Let me throw something out, and Dukes, maybe you've heard the same thing, and again, they have to get ownership of the team first. But correct. I have heard that if Mark and Alex get ownership of the team, that they are fully aware asking the public for money for a new arena is a multi-year uphill climb that might not end well, that they would like to privately finance their own arena and maybe area around the arena. Again, that could change, and that's pie in the sky. They'd have to put together another group, probably outside the Wolves ownership group, to finance some sort of real estate project. Mm-hmm. But I am told that they understand going and trying to beg the public for money for another new arena, that there's some fatigue around here, that they would look to privately finance. That's what I heard.
Okay. Sounds great.
It does sound great.
Like, where are you coming up with all that money?
Right.
Well,
that is ridiculous money. Okay, Michael Bloomberg. Okay, Eric Schmidt. All right.
Well, it's land purchases too.
Bloomberg, we need some more money. Schmidt, we need some more money. Okay.
You're not going to get. I don't think.
I'm glad they understand that, though, and yes, they do. They fully get that, and there is fatigue. It sounds great. I mean, that is a ton of work.
Now. It's the two buildings. I don't know how you're going to get public assistance in St. Paul, and you're going to get the city to, it feels like this is ripe for leverage of some sort.
All right. To answer your inquiry, though, Judd, I would say a stronger chance of that if Mark and Alex end up owning the Wolves, would Craig sell the Wild to Mark and Alex and others? Then that makes more sense.
Now we're back on track. Now we're
all right. You're a hockey guy. You're over at the X a lot.
I am.
Do you think there's any appetite in the next couple years for Craig Leopold to sell the Wild?
Not majority interest. I think he loves it. But I mean,
I know he loves it. Absolutely loves
things
it.
Up and down before and been completely wrong. So,
I love this. I love reckless speculation Thursday.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
we do have to go here, Dukes.
And it's not Craig Leopold, by the way. Like if something falls apart, it's not Craig Leopold buying the Wolves. Like of those two scenarios, to me, it would be more Mark and Alex. Yeah. Is there a way to buy the hockey team? Reckless speculation Thursday.
No, exactly right. We're all covered.
Darren Doogie Wolfson from
the Twins were not in on the end of Austin Hayes. Declan, did you hear the same thing? So Austin Hayes.
Oh no, I didn't know they were in.
Off to the Reds, 1 year, $5-ish million. The Twins are still looking for a ready bat that can play center field. Hayes is not a center fielder, so I know there was that connection. Hayes, Baltimore Orioles, new Twins hitting coach, coming from the Baltimore organization. So logically, there was that match, Hayes with the Twins. Sure, there may have been a conversation or two, but nothing really ever advanced. He's off the board to the Reds.
All right, Dukes, we'll do it again next Tuesday.
Yep, it can change, snap of the fingers, but I did check with a high-ranking Twins official last night. I said, hey, anything close on the trade front? One word texted back, no.
No, go away.
I'm on vacation still. Leave me alone.
Stop texting me. All right.
All right,
We'll
boys.
see you guys next week. Another scoop session in the books here in a Reckless Speculation Thursday. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.